Hello and welcome to RiverPitch. Well, tonight is the grand finale coming to you from ACS's Innovation Hub. Tonight, we find out which one of our fantastic businesses walks away on top. Of course, there is also the grand prize up for grabs, valued at $20,000. Now, that includes a spot on Startup Catalyst's mission to London to attend London Tech Week, where the winner gets the opportunity to connect with a network of angel investors. Now, this, of course, is all thanks to RiverPitch sponsor ACS. So, our 6 finalists from Brisbane, Sydney and Melbourne are James from Audira, which makes headphones that customises sound and also provides hearing tests. Yaz from the world's biggest garage sale, which mobilises latent goods and is profit for purpose. We have Caroline from Sound Scouts, which provides low-cost hearing tests via an app. Jason and Hanno from Unleash Live, that applies AI to analyse video. Jessica and Lucinda from Neighbourlytics, which collates social data to help build better cities. And of course, Tony from WePloy, which removes unconscious bias from recruitment and allows vacancies to be filled faster than ever. So, we have a big evening ahead for our contestants. They're going to take part in a lightning round of questions where the judges are going to really drill into detail when it comes to each of these businesses. So, let's welcome our judges, Andrew Johnson, Siobhan Hayden, Johan Ramasundra, and a special guest judge all the way from the US, investor Duncan Davidson.
I'm Duncan Davidson. I'm here from Silicon Valley. I run a little venture fund called Bullpen Capital. We now have around 300 million US under management. We've done about 100 investments over the last 6 or 7 years. We don't really care about the product. We want to see the traction in the market. Our thinking is, I don't need to have an opinion how good your product is. If you're in the market and people are buying it, the market is speaking. Every click is a survey. I want to see that. I want to see you're growing fast. I want to see your cost of acquiring customers. Is this got good economics, good unit economics? And I want to believe it'll grow to be a very, very big company. I ask people a question. Do you want to make money or do you want to be right? Now, most people think, oh, I want to make money, thinking that's what I want to hear. Wrong answer. I want them to want to be right, meaning they have a chip on their shoulder. They're trying to prove that their idea, their view of the market is right. And all those people that doubt them and are skeptical and wouldn't fund them are wrong. The best entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, everybody uses them, Zuckerberg, they didn't care about money. They were playing a game of king of the hill. There's a terrific base of talent, engineering, expertise here. It's terrific. So I expect to see some really good companies, the companies that can compete on the world stage.
We are also welcoming back our mentors, Shona Devon, Peter James and Steve Baxter, who, in preparation for tonight, have been running the contestants through their paces. So let's take a look.
The scary thing for us is that we were growing really fast in the lead up to raising. And so now that the money's in, it's not just about going back to business as usual and doing that faster. It's about how do we scale business as usual. It's totally different. It's the step change stuff.
And I guess, what advice would you have for organisations who are at our stage? So we've just closed a round. We have a team of 8 people. That's about to get a lot bigger. We're going to have to run a lot faster.
Don't race into things and don't let other people around you steer you onto different courses just because they think that's what the best thing for your business is. You know how to run your business.
Have you come across any other software use cases? Because it's a platform to manipulate how someone hears.
Yeah,
right. Okay,
big time. So incorporating into anything that makes sound.
No, I'm thinking like, can you turn sort of everything into? Can you put a filter on that? Like Instagram filters, right? Can you put like a sound filter on there? Can you have like novelty ones?
Absolutely. We've been looking at that in a gaming space as well, especially for that competitive advantage.
A lot easier to sell software than hardware, right?
Yes.
So,
and the Powered by Audira is underway.
What you've got to do is build your culture around being an AI company and where they want to come and work with you, doing great things to change the world. Depends where you want to hire the people. If you wanted to hire them in Australia, I've found that the R&D grants, notwithstanding some of the changes the government's brought in, are still very valid ways of building development teams here, and probably need to hire a couple into the US as well.
Never thought of the R&D grants for human resources.
I guess I was thinking about a question that they might ask as well, which would be, what's to stop a major recruiter just doing exactly what you're doing?
My answer is this, basically. Over the time that we've started WePloy, we've met with almost every large recruitment agency now, and many medium, small, all that sort of stuff. And it's always been because either they want to buy us, buy in, or partner.
Yep.
Which tells us that, you know, they also believe that this is the future of work. The users, the biggest barrier for them to use the product the first time is that they're like, this is so different to what I'm used to.
Yep.
So the way I see it is with more of these large companies going towards this manner, it really validates that this is actually something that works.
So in the US, I've been approached by someone who would like to distribute Sound Scouts and just talking to them about possible distribution models, but it's not an area that I'm particularly familiar with, and I'd love your input.
Look, using distributors when you're a small company makes a lot of sense, but there's, you know, a couple of, you know, warning signs that I keep an eye out for. What other products are these people representing? Because often they'll sign you up and just throw you on the list, and it's very hard to tell other than when the numbers don't start coming through.
Yaz, I've always said you're a pro.
Thanks, Steve.
So what's going on, mate? You've got a page full of notes there, page full of questions.
I do. If you were one of the judges tonight, what sort of questions would you be throwing at me?
How many sales have you made?
Excellent. Do you want me to answer it now?
Oh, it's one of the questions.
Okay.
So, look, I think if people don't understand businesses, you can convince anyone if you've got sales.
That we now have 15 locations that have approached us without us even going out and selling the product. They've come to us and said, we love what you're doing.
Got a deposit?
Well, you asked me that question a little while ago.
Yeah, right.
And I made a couple of phone calls yesterday.
Right.
And I have 4...
You expected the question again, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I got 4 $10,000 deposits confirmed.
Well, there you go.
Boom.
There you are.
Welcome back to the finale of RiverPitch. Now, for you, those of you at home, I'm afraid the voting lines are now closed. However, we have an audience here who are still able to vote. In the room with us, we have some of Australia's top business people who all have their own thoughts on what makes a great startup business and what qualities they look for that will allow these businesses to take them to the next level.
First of all, I look for scalability and profitability of the business and potential, of course.
I think for these kind of early stage business, it's scalability, but also uniqueness, difficulty of copying.
I think there's 2 key things, really. I look for the problem they're solving, and I really look to find a founder who can drive the business forward.
I look for, when I look at the business, I look at how passionate is the founder. Do they have a reason? What do they stand for? And are they prepared to see it through all the way? Yeah.
Okay, so we are ready and raring to go. Let's go to our first contestant for this evening, James from Ordira. Let's take a look at his journey so far.
Why do you care about headphones?
Because it's a link. It's a way that we can engage people in the importance
That's not
of their
very
hearing.
interesting, though, James. I mean, you're about to pitch to some people. Assume you're pitching to an investor who's seen 100 pitches in the previous 5 days.
We give back entertainment, communication and quality of life to millions of people who just assumed because their hearing was one-sided, no one was going to do anything about it.
So that's the better pitch.
I actually left clinical medicine. I was a doctor working in the hospital, and I've left that behind to make Ordira a reality. So it's been 3 years out in startup land after 10 years of getting ready to be a doctor.
I think the first time I saw the headphones being used by a person who had quite profound hearing loss, and just the look on his face was really heartwarming and really incredible. At Ordira, we have developed a set of headphones with a built-in hearing test. We're registered with the National Disability Insurance Scheme and the Hearing Services Program, meaning hundreds and thousands of Australians can use their government funding to purchase our headphones for free right now. And what we're looking for is to pour fuel on this fire. We're raising $5 to $10 million to improve our technology, build our staff, and take on the world market.
James, how are you feeling?
Yeah, great, thanks. How are you?
Very well, thank you. So first question, 4 million in the next 12 months. We didn't really delve into what's your unit price? How many units do you need to sell to get that 4 million?
Yeah, so it's about 10,000, and it depends on wholesale versus retail, and there is a mix depending on the channel we choose, but we've broken it down in terms of a number of units here in Australia and then a number of units in other markets.
That was actually going to be my next question. So what is the go-to-market channel?
Yep, so we're starting here with our base in Australia through the healthcare market. So we've rolled out into Australian Hearing, which is Australia's government-backed audiology clinics. And then we're going to move to our other audiology clinics here, so focusing on that health niche that we really own based on the quality of our tech. And then we can move into the consumer and gaming space and then expand that internationally.
Thank you.
James, with your projections to move into the US and Chinese markets, what are the key barriers to either of those markets, and is there different profitability in either of those?
Yeah, well, firstly, the key barrier is finding those quality partners. So we know that it's not going to be our team here in Australia that's going to be rolling that through into those markets. It's really finding that partner that's going to be leveraging our tech capacity and our passion into those areas with their local expertise. So finding that quality partner is key for us. We're shortlisting those as we speak. As you've said, you know, we took a dip into the market in China at the end of the year to test some relationships there, and we've launched on Amazon in the States to test those .com relationships and lining up some TV work over there through their television shopping networks and a few other of these market testing to find the right partners. But really, we understand that it's the people that are going to help us drive this through.
So further to the second question about the profitability in both of those markets, would it be an assumption that the US will be an easier market to initially scale into?
I think it would be an easier market to be selling a product of a higher cost. So the product that we currently have will be easier to roll into the US. But I think when you're looking at scale, the appeal of China is sort of undeniable. So I think to enter the Chinese market, we're making product adaptations, both down and up in quality, because there is that capacity to be really pushing luxury.
James, you touched on scaling internationally. So when you do that, how do you plan to build your team to challenge the markets internationally?
So starting with marketing and branding, making sure that our position is what that market needs, and then finding the distribution partners. So in the same way that we have distribution at scale here in Australia, we need to find that in the US and China. So we look at the big consumer electronics partners, Best Buy, Walmart, GameStop, all of those types of players, where you're signing one deal, you're in 6,000 locations, 1 unit a month, it's 6,000 pieces a month, kind of eclipse our 10,000 piece goal here in Australia.
James, you're the founder. Tell us why you're the right person to lead it to the international expansion.
I think because there isn't a person alive who cares about it more than I do. I stopped being a doctor to start doing this. I'm financially committed. I've backed into this current round myself. And, you know, I wake up and this is what I think about. I come home and I bore my wife with it. Like, this is what I do now, and I'm immensely proud of it. And I don't think there's anyone else who could share the passion and the drive that I have. I know I don't have all the box ticking of the expertise that we need, and that's why, you know I need to find those partners, but in terms of drive and passion, there's no one in the world that can do it like I can.
Thank you.
Hi, we've seen some attempts at this in the States the last 15 years, and you show very promising early results, but so do they. You're going into a market with Bose and Apple and Sony and some massive global players with brand.
It's exciting.
And yeah, it's exciting. But it takes a lot of money to build a global consumer brand. So the question is, early promise is good. How do you actually convert over and be one of the great brands in the world with this type of consumer product?
Yeah, so we start in the area where we control the space and we control the authority. So we have the right to play in an area where those guys don't. So our medical-backed tech and serving the needs of people with a known hearing loss. The other providers, they have a good quality hardware product, but it's one sound fits all. And you have to choose, do you want the $50 one or the $500 one, and this is how they sound. So we focus on using our tech, our knowledge and our passion to be helping all people so that we can focus first on our niche, proving the quality of the product, and then crossing the chasm and growing into that mainstream adoption.
Okay, your closing argument. Why should you win RiverPitch tonight?
Because we genuinely help people, and if you're looking at a product and a company that can scale, we sell a thing. That thing earns revenue, and if we can sell more of those things than anyone else, we win. So scalability is based on distribution, marketing, and passion, and we've got those things.
Thank you.
Thanks, James.
Thank you.
James, well done. First contestant tonight.
Yeah.
How do you feel? How do you think it went?
Yeah, I think it was great. I think, you know, the energy being first cab off the rank, and everyone, there's that sense of anticipation, what's going to come up. So I think the judges were fresh and the crowd was fresh, and yeah, it felt really good.
I'm going to say I thought there were some tough questions, but you nailed it. I mean, was there anything that you felt a little bit kind of shaky on?
Yeah, I think, you know, the obvious one of look at the size of the competitors we're up against. Yeah. You know, but I think about that all day.
James from Ordira there. Well, next contestant off the rank is Yaz from the world's biggest garage sale.
And the pitch you've actually prepared just there, given you're after a chairman or a CTO, do you think it's appropriately weighted? There's a lot of information in your pitch. Can you get across the point of what you're doing in the amount of time you've got?
It's actually putting the meatier stuff that's the most important at the front of my pitch deck. The world's biggest garage sale activates dormant goods for good for the $4.5 trillion circular economy. The world's biggest garage sale has large-scale community events in spaces the size of football stadiums. The community comes together and activates millions of kilograms of goods for a local cause. For me, making a difference. Like, what we do makes a massive difference to people. It also has a positive impact on the planet. When you can do those things and still have a sustainable and scalable business model behind it, I mean, it's like you win the lottery.
Could you please expand on the revenue model a little bit?
Yes, so what we tested in the Brisbane community was we were working with a local charity and to try to understand what they wanted from a local event. So instead of having a charity dinner, we have a world's biggest garage sale, and our revenue model is that we take 30% of the revenue.
Yasmin, thanks for that. And pleased to see you here tonight. You talked in your pitch earlier when we met about the 1,000 events over the coming years. So let's examine that. How are you getting there? What are you doing with partners overseas? Walk us through how that's going to happen.
So we want to slow down to speed up so that we can ensure the foundation is really strong. So this year we're committed to between 4 and 5 events that will run really in a robust manner with local, close to our home locations. So we work with city councils. So our first few events will be within a region where we can actually drive to those events and have a team on the ground. Our model is not a team on the ground nationally or internationally. And we already have locations, including one in San Francisco, that want to run events. And these people have come to us organically. And our plan is to ensure that next year we have a goal to run one event every week across not only the country, but internationally as well. So once we've got the foundation strong, we know that our technology can support really rapid scale.
Okay, so when you're looking at a discrete event, is there a red or green light at a particular time in that project plan where you say it's either a go or a no-go?
There is, and we've actually had a few changes since we last met. So we now have asked for our charities and partners to pay a $10,000 deposit up front so that when they invest that $10,000, they take our opportunity really seriously. When they've got money on the table, we're all committed. And it also ensures that our team ensures that our velocity doesn't slow down.
Yes. Tell us a little bit about your challenges to scale, as well as how would your profitability be affected as you scale?
Our challenges to scale, the biggest risk factor is the right community and ensuring that the commitment is there and that when we provide our technology and our systems and our IP, that we continue to iterate every year, bringing them more value. Because if we stop bringing value and stop developing our systems and technologies, then it's really easy for them to make an assumption that they could do this on their own. After 6 years, let me tell you, this is not easy to copy. This is really difficult. But we have 6 years and collectively 30 years of experience from those 6 years from the team that we've had working on this. And so we feel that our foundation is really strong, but we do and are aware of that risk factor, and it's certainly not something that we want to let blindside us.
Hi. The venture people in Silicon Valley that do social impact love double bottom line. The first bottom line is a venture capital financial return, but the second is social impact.
Yes.
And they think values helps valuation. A double bottom line company should be better valued.
Yeah.
So my question for you, are you really a venture capital financial return company? You seem to be very event-based, very interesting, audacious. I love that. But there's not a lot of tech. Is this really a venture-style type of business?
I think it is for ventures who have a vision as big as ours. And so we have already had indications from really large-scale manufacturers who are producing fast fashion and fast product lines, and they have actually approached us and asked us for our data. So we don't know yet what the value of that data is, and we don't want to even anticipate that there is a market there. But we know when we run 1,000 events, where 20,000 people shop on average at each event, and we have 2 million kilograms of product donated, there is a significant amount of data. So we know that choosing the right venture capital fund who does care about double and triple bottom line, that we'll be working together to ensure that probably by year 3 we start to bring in data analysts and people who can understand how we can utilise that data to support a more circular economy globally rather than the linear model that's now scaling out.
So you're saying that the fast fashion suppliers of apparel can find what ends up in the junk side versus what is the great side.
Absolutely. The words were, how do we buy our waste metrics from you?
That's interesting.
We had.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting for us as well.
Final question, an elevator pitch. Why should the world's biggest garage sale win RiverPitch?
Well, if you haven't heard of the circular economy and the sustainable development goals, by 2030 globally, every country has committed to those goals. We have 6 years of knowledge, 30 years of team knowledge, and we are ready to scale. We're well ahead of the curve, and an investment in us and a win tonight will ensure that we can remove any barrier of entry to be able to scale globally. I think within the month, and I made a commitment to Steve Baxter, who is my mentor, within a month, we'll have deposits on every single event that has committed to us so far, and we haven't even tried to sell. Selling is our strength. The minute we're out there in the market, we'll have 100 events signed up, and we'll have to actually have people on a wait list.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, were there any nerves? Because you look like you were enjoying yourself up there.
I have to admit there were a lot of nerves just before I got on stage. I thought, oh my gosh, our business model is really different. How is this going to unfold with the judges and their questioning tonight? So I have to admit there were some butterflies.
Yeah, and some tough questions as well. But you handled it well. I mean, did you expect that sort of level of questioning?
No, I did not expect that level of questioning. But what I loved about it is it really challenged me. We've been doing our business for 6 years, so I didn't feel like we never had an answer or a response to those questions. But what I thought was that they're digging deep and they're really trying to work out tonight who the best and most scalable business is and who's going to be able to have rapid, scalable, attention-seeking growth. And for us, I feel like we're in with it. I think what we do is we bring something more than just money, and I feel like I really wanted to ensure that that message came across tonight in my responses.
Oh, I think it absolutely did. The crowd was with you. Good luck tonight, yes.
Thank you so much.
Welcome back to the grand finale of RiverPitch. We are 2 contestants down, 4 more to go until we find out who the winner is. Up next, Jason and Hanno from Unleash Live.
What other sort of customers have you got? Because I'd be looking to give 1 or 2 examples, shorter, sharper. It's not just because I could argue that was just a bit of a fluke. You landed into California. Brilliant, by the way, brilliant. But what other customers have you got?
Unleash Live is a cloud-based software platform, ingesting live video and imagery and attaching real-time AI to deliver instant decision-making.
The proudest moment of our business, and we see this every time that we demonstrate, is the moment that we switch on the AI in live stream. And you see the eyes of that person. It's pretty impressive.
I also understand you've got an AI app store. Could you take us through that AI app store model?
Sure. Okay, so where you have industry problems, and usually they're real-world big problems, we connect our... there's 2 ways we can do this. One is we help connect the developers that we have to be able to build these custom AIs for them on that marketplace. But on the other side, there's lots of universities and there's lots of large research companies out there that have AI that they've built sitting on premise but not scalable.
Picture this. Northern California, late last year. Wildfires ravaging through communities. We were there, working with the largest drone operator in the world and the local police. We got visual data from the field into the cloud and analyzed it with live AI.
Congratulations on getting to the finals. Could you please take us through your annual growth rate and how has it been growing? Is it linear? Has it been consistent?
Sure. So we started 3 years ago, and we've been in market for the last 6 months. And the inbound demand keeps us awake at night. So the biggest challenge we have at the moment is that we need to focus. We need to focus on the key customers where we can deliver quality projects. And with that, then the growth will accelerate. But at the moment, we're in the mode of actually carving out where we can deliver those large-scale and impactful projects.
This technology sounds amazing, and I think the real-time segment of AI will be the most highly valued segment. I have a but. The but is this. Most people know the 3 rules of real estate. Location, location, location. Yep. They don't know the 4 rules of venture capital. Too early, too early, too early, too late. My concern is too early. We like to invest at the inflection point right before it's too late.
Yeah.
But it sounds like this may take a while before the real market develops.
Well, I think what you're saying, you're correct, but we've got the opportunity here to shape this market. So with our technology at the moment, we're finding a lot of inbound interest. We're being led by our customers in Australia and America, and it's helping us to understand, like Hanno said, to be able to focus on what's actually working with this instant insights.
So the other thing is most of these companies work because they pick one segment they crush. It's like their beachhead market, then they expand sideways. Do you yet know which is that starting market that you're going to absolutely own and crush before you go after all the others?
Yes. Yes, so really the architecture of our platform is addressing exactly that challenge, where we provide the infrastructure to improve the workflow for decision-making. So the data is there. The visual data is there. There are more than 500 million connected cameras at the moment. We connect those potentially into our platform. So we connect.
Apologize for interrupting, but I hear that. My question is, what is your launch market? Is it oil and gas? Is it some type of public safety? Is it
Exactly. We've been led by our customers. So there are a number of industries, such as public safety, smart cities.
But you have one. My question is, do you have one?
We're being led absolutely by our customers at the moment, and a lot of that's to do with public safety.
So public safety is your
public safety, but that does flow into a number of different industries. For example, oil and gas. That the technology flows across, and like Hanno said, that horizontal marketplace is exactly what we're working on. So we provide a focus, but at the same time, we're very open to being led by what our customers want.
Thank you.
So I really want to understand the tech side. So how many developers are supporting you, and then in order to scale, how much of the new business coming in is coming via both of you, and what translation is needed to engage your devs?
So the beauty of the architecture is that we don't only rely on our own employees. So this is also what is great for the business model in terms of every additional AI that we put on is quite low marginal cost for us, and developers are external to us. So we really drive the externalities of this business model. That's number one. We have internal capabilities, both in AI and data analytics and enterprise architecture. And we do that through Australia with great talent. And we have also overseas development capability. And that allows us to scale at low cost, really, where we have this balance of inside versus external developers.
Hi, guys. So let's just talk a bit further about your feedback before about being customer-led. Obviously, there's a nascent period where that can be appropriate, but when does that stop? What does your strategic plan or business plan look like for the next 12 months where you can then start to be learning off what you've currently done to make clear decisions about where you want to participate, where you would result in the biggest revenue?
Yeah. So our 3-year plan is there are 4,000 enterprises and government cities in the world that have large-scale infrastructure that requires maintenance and fast decision-making. Out of those 4,000 enterprises and cities, we target to achieve 5% market share, which is 200. And if we generate a revenue of about $100,000 for each one of those clients on average, that will make us a $20 million company in revenue.
Okay. All right, we've asked every participant tonight, tell us why Unleash Live should win RiverPitch.
Sure. So we are in market. We have proven cases, both in California and bringing that back to Australia with public safety and emergency. We are scaling with those customers. We have a great team, and it's deployed in market. And thirdly, the trends work for us. Rollout of 5G, robotics and automation really make sure that Unleash Live scales.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well done, guys. Not easy out there, though. Duncan, in particular, some tough questions. What did you guys make of it?
Oh, look, it was great. I think that's what it's all about, really. So the tough questions, it was great, I think. But I felt the questions were perfect for us to answer.
Yeah.
They actually fell into our strengths, so it was great.
What is clear is you guys love talking about the business. I mean, but that's what you want, right? You want to be excited about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we have a point of view. We love the technology that we are building, and we see that we address a need that our enterprise customers have. So it's great to be on stage.
Well, I thought you both did a great job. Good luck tonight. Good luck.
Thanks, James. Thanks.
Up next, Carolyn from Sound Scouts.
How do you make money out of this?
Yeah, so it is based on a cost per test. So prior to the government funding, parents and schools would pay close to $15 per test session, so 10 times cheaper than a traditional hearing test. Hearing checks remain expensive, difficult and boring. But that's set to change with the introduction of Sound Scouts, an algorithm-based hearing check integrated into a mobile game, delivered via an app. Children play the game with a set of headphones on a device, and each interaction collects a valuable piece of hearing data.
Carol, I'm just interested to know how you scale from here. So, Australian government's committed $4 million for 500,000 school kid checks. Where to next?
We're heading to the US next to release in the US market. So we've done our development work for the US product and we're looking to release there in the imminent future. So personally for me, I'm a mother of 3 children. My youngest boy has had some challenges with learning, and seeing the impact of those challenges on his self-esteem, it's really made me appreciate that a small issue that can be easily addressed can have a huge impact on a child's life. Sound Scouts has been developed in collaboration with Australia's National Acoustic Laboratories, a global leader in hearing science. It's been validated with clinical trials on over 1,000 children tested against gold standard audiometry.
Hello, Carolyn. I think I start this time. We may have met years ago at Springboard, I believe so.
Good to see you again.
One of my occasional trips over. Yes, it's interesting how far you've come, so it's terrific.
Thank you.
I have 2 questions. The first one's this. People usually go through a learning and discovery period, experimentation period, before they hit product market fit. It's not clear to me you have product market fit yet, because you talked about Google Play in some places, selling to the government, selling into schools. So could you explain why you think you found your right market and this is the right product for it?
I think there'll be different market fits, you know, in different markets. So in Australia, we had a lot of engagement from schools and we have received that support from the federal government to enable us to offer the test to individuals but to schools for free, and we've seen great uptake in that. In America, we've just returned from pitching at South by Southwest in Austin, and we actually won the Impact Pediatric Health Award in the digital space. And what the feedback there was that we would fit well into the early childhood assessment test at 4 in preparation for school entry, and that testing is done by paediatricians. So our distribution model in the US is much more likely to be through the paediatric network.
Very good. So we've seen a lot of companies come over the pond. They do well here. They sort of stumble out of the gates in the US. Have you done anything yet at going after the pediatricians, or is that still something to be done?
Yeah, look, we've had a lot of interest actually after our presentation in the US, and we have interested parties who want to distribute for us in the US. So they see the value in our product, and they're really knocking down the door to for us to say yes to being their distribution partners. So those particular people have solid history in health tech, are associated with a big hospital group, and I can only take it from their interest that they see the value in the product.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Carolyn, nice to see you again. With the hearing test, let me learn a little bit more. When you establish there is a hearing impairment, how much do you help with understanding the causation of that? So with a $20 hearing test, am I then going off to an ENT specialist to spend $200 to understand why?
Okay, so our point of difference is really about determining what is the cause of the hearing issue. So most hearing tests can tell you you have a problem. Our technology aims to guide you as to whether you have a middle ear issue, an inner ear issue, or possibly what we now term as a listening difficulties in noise issue. So if you have a middle ear issue, you should see your GP first. If you have an inner ear issue, then in Australia in particular, you would go and see Australian Hearing if you're a child. And then if you have listening difficulties in noise, you'd more likely see a speech pathologist or potentially also an audiologist. So it's really about fine-tuning the pathway and not wasting money and resources going to the wrong place.
Caroline, almost every business has competition. What does competition in your space look like, and what's so unique about your solution?
SoundScouts is an evidence-based product. So we've done clinical trials. Our science has been published in the International Journal of Audiology, which is a peer-reviewed publication. So we are underpinned by our science. Our scientist, our chief scientist, Dr. Harvey Dillon, is a global leader in hearing science, and his association with the application and the test really, he's almost a calling card that enables us to enter any market. He's so well respected. So I think the importance of the science underpinning the test, it stands us in good stead. Our ability to point users in the direction of the likely cause of the hearing loss. And also, it's a game-based application, and we are targeting children. But I have to say, we've also opened it up to the adult market, and I've had a lot of adults saying, actually, I do hearing tests all the time. They're super boring, and we love SoundScouts. So I think we've got a lot of points of difference that, place us highly.
Caroline, why do you think you should win RiverPitch?
Undetected hearing loss is a barrier to education, and a good education is the one thing that we all have a right to. So every child we detect with a hearing loss that can then be treated, that child has the opportunity to fulfil their potential. And that's a success for them, but it's also a success for the whole community and the country. So a win for SoundScouts, I believe, is a win for everyone.
Thank you.
Well done, Caroline.
Well done. How are you feeling?
Thank you. I'm relieved to have got through the process.
You did a great job. I mean, was it hard? Was there anything that, you thought, oh, I could have done better?
I think there's always questions that you feel like you can answer better, but I think I was able to answer all the questions and, I had a response for them. So...
I think you did a great job. The judges have a difficult decision on their hands. Thanks so much. Welcome back. Before the break, James, Yas, Hanno and Jason and Caroline were put through their paces. Next up, it is Jessica and Lucinda from Neighbourlytics.
Okay, so why are you here? Why are you...
Yeah, we've just got great investment and we need to grow our team, and it's tough in Australia, and we want the best product people and we want the best data scientists.
Okay, could you tailor your presentation a bit more towards that?
I love doing what we're doing because we are actually changing the world. So without our data, property developers and local governments are just guessing at how much we as citizens love the places that we live or the places we work, and we're providing them with data to understand the personality of places and the social connectedness of neighbourhoods, and these are massive issues that affect people's mental well-being and health. Loneliness is as likely to kill you as smoking and heart disease.
Over the past 6 months, we've created data for more than 400 neighbourhoods across 6 continents. This provides an unparalleled data set to provide insights into how neighbourhoods work. Our data is used by leasing agents to find the best tenants, by property developers to plan livable neighbourhoods, or by governments to allocate budgets for services.
So you talked about property developers, and obviously when you're developing a suburb or a town or a place, they're trying to maximise revenue earning space. So it sounds like you're trying to bring more of that space back into communities. How are you convincing property developers that that's the right decision to make?
Yeah, currently property developers have very little insight into what's actually happening in a neighbourhood. And the big shift that we're seeing at the moment with the experience economy is people are buying into the neighbourhood more than they are apartments.
We create digital footprints of our daily lives every time we like, check, review, search, tweet. And this is incredibly valuable data about the social lives that we lead.
Lucinda and Jessica, so we've been up and running since October 2017. What's the revenue so far?
So we're currently at 550,000 annualised revenue. We've sold over 400, or actually now 500 neighbourhood reports. We've got customers in 10 countries across 12 cities.
And are you profitable at this stage, or if not, at what stage will that kick in?
Yeah, we've been break even for about 6 months and we've grown the whole business from bootstrapping with revenue right from our MVP, which was almost unsellable, but customers were buying it right from the beginning.
Thank you.
With your scale, you talked on the initial pitch about 6 continents, 10 countries, you just reiterated now. The barriers to scaling, what have you learnt from that process and how hard is it?
Yeah, so we have intentionally built a platform that uses publicly available digital data so that it can be used for any address in the world. So that's made it's just as easy for us to fulfil projects in Singapore or Nairobi as it is in Sydney. So we don't have a barrier to entry in terms of the data collection. We do have a barrier we do have a barrier in terms of our biggest risk is not scaling fast enough. So that's why we're really intentionally trying to grow our team and particularly looking at revising our sales strategy. So we have been quite acquisition, quite project-based to date because that's how the property sector works. We're moving into a SaaS model with an automated sales revenue pipeline that will help us accelerate that growth.
So then further to that feedback and insight, which is great, the 10 countries, which do you think is the key 1 or 2 to focus on to get your biggest return?
Yeah, well, we have a lot of traction at the moment in the UK already. The UK property sector is very impact focused, and particularly around London post-Olympics. That's really something the community benefit of the property developments is really important and front and centre. And we have a lot of our clients in Europe and particularly the UK at the moment. We've just done data for Southern Scotland. So this prize would be an amazing opportunity for us to really get over to the UK and grab it by the horns.
The Asian market is also a focus for us. I've had 3 phone calls from 3 different departments of the Singaporean government in the last month, and also 60% of urban growth in the next 30 years is going to be in Asia. So that would be really foolish for us to not really intentionally seek that market. Thank you.
Well, Lucinda and Jessica, talent seems to be a #1 issue wherever I go across the world, right? So as you scale internationally, how do you plan to find the talent that you need in data science and AI and everything else?
Yeah, sure. So scaling internationally doesn't require us to have offshore presence. We can scale from Australia to do that. Doesn't mean the talent problem is solved because, we have that problem here. So we have an amazing team already. We've got about 10 staff who are just incredible people who joined us really from the beginning and are growing with us. But that's exactly why we're here on RiverPitch, is because we want to get the word out there about what we're doing and find some of the most creative product and data analytics people to approach us and say they want to be with us with what we're doing next, which is really moving from descriptive analytics into much more complex predictive analytics to think about the future of cities and how they change, over time.
I love data businesses like yours. They become natural monopolies and they have a long tail on the value of the data. I worry about sales efficiency. You sell to a whole bunch of different constituents, so perhaps you're the outbound person. What do you think about that? How do you get efficient sales to grow the business and not spread it around?
Sure. So I guess we've spent $0 in marketing to date, and the way that we see the different parts of our market is that they actually use the same product. Like for us, it's exactly the same product, but for different purposes. So the thing about city making is that governments and property developers and consultants, even though they are different verticals, are all working on the same project. So they need the same information. So while we have been acquisition-based, what we have been building and testing is an automated sales pipeline. So we're really fine once the leads come to us, which is where we are to date, and people can purchase directly through our website. That's simple and that's what happens. But we realise that there is a much larger market that we can tap into, but the strategy for that is content-based. So we have a very unique voice in this area that combines both best practice urban planning with best practice data analytics. If you Google that, you don't find many people talking about both of those. Our blog posts get thousands of likes, for example. So a really intentional content strategy is what we're using as the basis for an automated sales inbound marketing strategy.
Very good. All right, we've asked everybody. I'll ask both of you. Why should you win RiverPitch?
Yeah, well, we've got really ambitious plans and we've just closed a seed round, which is amazing, but we want to be in 100 cities in 3 years and we're on the trajectory to get there. Being able to go to Tech Week in London would be phenomenal. We're already in that market, as we said, but we need as many people on board as we can, which is why we're here. So that's why we think we should win.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Ladies, well done. How do you feel?
I'm glad that it's over. It's hard being second last. I think your nerves build when you watch other people go through. But
well, you couldn't tell, I got to say. You couldn't tell the nerves were there.
That's good. But, it felt good to do it. It felt really good to be part of it.
There's a lot of pressure to be concise. We're not naturally concise people, and so to have to say anything intelligent in a short snippet is challenging for me. So to try and get the really...
We work on complex problems.
Yeah, big points we've got to get across, and so to be concise and, but impress the judges at the same time is tricky.
Jessica, listen, well done tonight. Just a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Coming up next, last but not least, is Tony.
I still had this niggle in my mind from an investment perspective going, yeah, but there's like 100 employment platforms out there. How does this guy beat everybody else? How does your technology, even though people think, how can technology have a value system? But it can, because you're operating the technology.
Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying now. So our platform, through the technology, one of the biggest values we drive is unconscious bias, right? Because we never show you the name or the picture. And so
That's the first time I've heard that.
Yeah, we wanted to create a fearless and empowered future of work. Growing up, for me, I'd always been in situations where, due to my background, I'd been given, less of a chance. And so something that I really love is that we're now being able to remove that unconscious bias across the board. Doesn't matter where you come from, how old you are, or whatever it is, we're able to help these people actually find work. Hi, my name's Tony, and I'm from WePloy. And we're a recruitment platform that helps businesses hire short-term, pre-vetted, white-collar staff within seconds rather than days or weeks.
What has the traction been, and what does the next year and a half look like for you?
Yeah, so it's been phenomenal. We launched the business, and in our first year, we actually smashed our our goal in the first 3 weeks. And since then, we've grown the team. So we built out a unique 6-stage vetting process that utilized technology to vet based on data. And throughout the hiring process, we would never show the photo or the name. And then we were able to reduce the time to hire from over a week to now our average fill time is 11 seconds, which is something that's never been done before.
So, Tony, thank you. A couple of questions in addition to when you pitched earlier. You've talked about your growth rate in the 18 months, and you've gone from 3 staff to 30. Has that been fairly consistent?
Yeah, so since the start of this show starting to now, I think we've added another 8 people, or 7 or 8. So majority of that hiring has been happening in the past 12 months.
Okay. And are you currently profitable, or you've still got a burn rate?
Yeah, so for us, we still have a burn rate. For us, we actually don't care about profitability right now. We have a global vision, and for us, one of those things is, we could be profitable tomorrow. We could shut off a lot of operations, shut off a lot of tech. But for us, every dollar that we get and make, we put back into the business. So for us, growth is the most important thing right now.
And what sort of money have you expended on marketing? You said it was basically through the tech and referrals. How's that looking for you, the marketing and sales side?
Yeah, so marketing and sales has been next to nothing, except for the last quarter. So a great sort of metric or something that we've been able to, I can now tell a little bit about because we just got the numbers closed out. when we closed out Q4, we were growing at about 400% year on year. But as of Q1, we actually were able to increase that to more around 650% year on year.
Okay.
A lot of that is because we've actually started investing heavily into sales. So we looked at the sales engine and said, being B2B and enterprise, a lot of our clients are multinational or mid to large size enterprises. So we really looked at that client and said, how do we grow their LTV? How do we increase that usage once we get them through the door?
Tony, you said you've got a global vision. That's fantastic. So what are your key barriers to scale? And as you scale internationally, how do you plan to actually, how do you plan your profits?
Yeah, sure. Great question. So for us, the balance of supply and demand has always been, the biggest scaling barrier. So one of the things we did last year, our network is within Asia. So we actually did a tour throughout Asia. And the biggest learning that we found was that what we thought in the beginning was population density would be the biggest way to scale. But what we actually learned was that it's not about population density, but actually recruitment market maturity. So for us, it's really looking at which markets have the most mature markets that we can then come in, because that's an easier barrier or easier way to get in.
So we happen to love jobs businesses. It's been a category that's created a couple of multi-billion-dollar companies like Seek, your very own Melbourne company. You have to grow crazy fast to get into that echelon. It sounds like you are. But there's certain frictions to scaling. So I'm wondering, for example, the supply side and vetting the people and making sure clunkers don't get through, because that'll hurt downstream retention. How do you handle that side versus the demand side and selling?
Yeah, so our vision and our mission is always centered around the candidate, because at the end of the day, if our supply, our biggest unique selling point is that we provide continuous and consistent quality. That's the biggest thing. We can build a database of millions of candidates, but if they're not good, then it's pointless. So for us, we really focus on providing a 10x better experience for the candidate, so that we can start to create a reactive candidate attraction model rather than going continuously out there to attract.
Are you using LinkedIn, by the way, to find talent? Is that also your mechanic to get terrific supply?
Yeah, we were really lucky. We poached a few people from LinkedIn, and so we were able to understand how to use LinkedIn really well. So definitely, yes.
I love hacks. That's good. I like hearing that.
Yeah.
Tony, I just want to understand the process a little bit more. Are you putting one candidate in front of an employer? So they're going through your system and they're only seeing one? That's how you take out the unconscious bias?
No, so the unconscious bias element is actually, we created a unique 6-stage vetting process. So when I used to work in the recruitment industry, what would happen is, someone would call in sick or a client would need someone. They'd pick up the phone, call up the recruitment agency, and then start trying to go through that whole song and dance. On the recruitment agency side, as a recruiter, you'd pick up the CV and most often you'd go, yeah, this is good enough, and go in. Often you make the judgment by basically whether their previous experience, their name, all these things that come into it. So in our unique 6-stage vetting process, we actually front load a lot of the vetting so that we put them through essentially online assessments, so that we look at their capabilities rather than what is their name, where they're from, all these kind of things. We've actually got now we've developed two essentially feature or products. One, originally when we first launched, was about going, a client needs someone, they jump onto our platform, they make the request, and based on the request, the person can accept the job and come in. The second feature that we've recently released is WePlay Select, which is where it's an instant shortlist. So based on user research we got from our clients, they wanted to be able to have some sort of choice. So we said, without compromising values, we were able to provide them back a shortlist. Still, we don't show them the name or the photo, but what we do show them is their competency and some of their skills that they've been vetted for.
Final question, why should WePlay win RiverPitch?
So, we created this with a massive global goal and vision. It's to create a fearless and empowered future of work. That's something that doesn't affect us today, but also, not only affects us today, but also affects our future. Everyone's jobs and where the world is going is that's the future of work. So for us, what's really important, as I said before, we want to look at London, we want to look at the US. So being able to, win and go to London Tech Week and be able to meet the people that we need to, that's going to help accelerate our speed and accelerate our growth much faster.
Thank you.
Well done, Tony.
Tony, mate, well done. I got to ask, you've been there waiting, watching everybody else go through. Being last, good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's a bad thing because, you know, there's incredible businesses there, and watching them all, I'm like, wow, that's such a good business about it. So yeah, it was for me, it was for the competition a bad thing. Yeah.
And what about when you're up there and you're getting pretty tough questions, you know, from some pretty impressive judges? How do you think you went? What were you feeling like as you were going through the answers and questions?
Yeah, I didn't want to prepare anything because I wanted everything to be as natural as possible. Yeah. I think the hardest part is being able to be concise in such a short period. But I feel like I was able to, look, thinking back on it, I've been able to answer or provide the answers that I wanted. If I had more time, I'd love to tell them more. But you know, my biggest thing was just go out and do the best I can, and I feel like that's what I did.
I got to say, I thought you nailed it. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And good luck for it as well. Tony, of course, is our last contestant tonight. Coming up after this break, we find out who walks away with the grand prize. Welcome back to the grand finale of RiverPitch. We are but moments away from revealing the winner, revealing who walks away with the grand prize valued at $20,000, courtesy, of course, of ACS. So you at home have voted, the live audience have voted, and of course the judges have voted. But what about the investors? What have the investors made of this evening's pitches?
Tonight's final is all amazing, but if I had to pick one, that would be Unleash Live. I see huge potential around that.
Well, my favourite to win tonight would be WePloy because it's such a large market recruitment and the ability to take costs out of that process could be very valuable.
I was particularly impressed with James from Ordira. I thought he's solving a real problem. I thought he had great passion, great enthusiasm for his product.
Two standouts was Unleash Live because of their marketplace and the ability to sell to governments. And also, as an entrepreneur, I believe any business that doesn't have some sort of purpose on its mission statement, like a genuine purpose on its mission statement, that'll dictate its success moving forward because we're starting to see a lot of change in the way the society is behaving. And I think a front runner for me would be the world's biggest garage sale.
Now, before I reveal the winner, Andrew, any last thoughts for our contestants?
Can we just say, wow, we're all very impressed. Each of the companies are solving very real-world problems and have a market lead. There is one that stood out to us, and our fingers are crossed that the audience agree with us, but obviously our frame of reference was who was the growth hacker, who could use technology to scale the quickest. So that's the frame and the lens that we use, but just to say thank you to Peter, Shona, and Steve, because we also think the mentoring was first class. So congratulations.
All right, so this is it. I have the envelope in my hand. You guys ready? Ready for this? All right. The winner of RiverPitch is WePloy. Congratulations, Tony. Well done. And congratulations to everybody at WePloy. Well, that is it. Thank you for a great evening. Thank you to everyone involved, ACS, of course, all of our contestants, all of our judges, our mentors, and of course, the live audience. From everybody here, have a good night.